Came from.
That's so weird.
It's so strange.
Hope they find them.
Mm-hmm. We'll see.
And now for a very special segment from our eFIT news team.
Fact. eFIT News stands for Ending Food Insecurity Task Force.
Let me introduce you to our eFIT News team. My name is Jonathan Davis, and I'm the pastor at Aurora and Trinity Lutheran Parish in Owatonna, Minnesota.
And I'm Paige Whitney, and I'm pastor at Grace Lutheran Church in Waseca, Minnesota.
I'm Lindsay Stolen, pastor at Red Oak Grove Lutheran Church in Austin, Minnesota.
And Charlie Leonard, our correspondent out in the field, is pastor at First Lutheran Church in Blooming Prairie, Minnesota.
In the upcoming weeks, we will be having some special segments that are about ministries in our synod that are addressing food insecurity.
Fact. 1 in 10 Minnesotans run out of food resources before the end of the month.
In our first segment, Pastor Charlie Leonard takes us down to Blooming Prairie, home of the awesome Blossoms, and he arrives at the scene.
Fact! 1 in 6 Minnesota children are at risk for hunger.
Thank you. Thank you for that. Again, Pastor Charlie Leonard is taking us to Blooming Prairie, home of the awesome Blossoms, and to the Senior Center there. But first, a word from our sponsors. Oh, hi. I didn't see you there. Say, do you ever think you're too short to run? Do you ever see events like the Bishop's 5K coming up on September 20th and think to yourself, I could never run that far? If only there were something that could make you run taller and farther. Consider Delzer Sport Drink. Delzer Sport Drink. Run taller. Be gooder.
Hi, John. I'm inside the Senior Center now with Luann Fairbairn. Hi, Luann. How are you doing today?
I'm good, Charlie.
Good. Say, I'm here with eFIT News, and I'm here today to hear from you what you're doing here in Blooming Prairie and surrounding communities to help end food insecurity.
We serve meals for SEMCAC 5 days a week. We serve meals for homebound people. Those are Meals on Wheels where we deliver them to their homes. We find volunteers to deliver them. And for our people here, we prepare them so that they have a more nutritious meal every day instead of maybe being home having, a little something that's probably not so healthy for them. Well, sometimes I hear about people and then I'll call them up and ask them if I can come to their home and talk with them. I guess I've even brought people here in my car I tell them, try it once, and if it's not for you, that's okay. We don't mind, but if it is, maybe it would be a good way for you to get out and socialize and be with friends.
Yeah. And get a nutritious meal.
And get a nutritious meal, absolutely. And if you can't afford a meal, no one has ever denied a meal because of the inability to pay for one.
Yeah.
You're more than welcome to come dine with us no matter what you have. If you don't have anything, we still want you here. It's a great place to be. We have a lot of fun here too.
Well, John, this wraps up our time here in Blooming Prairie at the Senior Center. I want to tell you I had a great bowl of beef stew and sat around with some of the guys around a table and enjoyed some conversation. The Senior Center here is not truly a church's kitchen or a church program, but many of the churches in the area support this program, and without the volunteers from our churches and some funding, this program couldn't exist. Thank you for sending me down here today, but I do have one question for you and Paige. And that question is, hey, you know, when I signed up for this gig, am I always going to be the one standing out in the cold?
Thank you, Charlie. And just so you know, we only send the best.
Yes, thanks, Charlie. So what I really liked about hearing about the Senior Center is that the volunteers from the churches in Blooming Prairie don't feel like they need to create something new within their church, but are working with a ministry that already exists in the community.
Yeah, that's great. And a lot of those volunteers, what they do is go to the senior center and then take meals out further into the community with Meals on Wheels.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah.
Well, I'm afraid that's all we have time for in this segment
Fact.
of the...
Fact.
100,000 people are assisted by the resources of the Channel 1 Regional Food Bank each year.
Well, that's all the time we have. Tune in next time for eFIT News on River Crossings Live.
Hi.